Welcome to another special edition of the Love Intervention.
Right.
COVID-19, lockdown, quarantine, almost open, special edition stuff that you need to have.
Right.
Today we're talking about dealing with conflict and your children.
Right.
Many of us have children. We are in these relationships, whether you're married or not, but we have children and they've been on lockdown for 6 weeks just like we have. Mm-hmm. And being in these confined spaces, we need some tips to help you deal with, tips to help us deal with conflict that we may have, that our kids may have, and conflicts that we may have with them.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Here are 6 quick tips that you can use to help your kids work through conflict if it's more than one of them in the house.
Right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So, number 1, tell them to stop.
All right.
That seems very simple, but here's what I mean. If your kids are having an issue, the first thing that they can do is stop what they're doing. Mm-hmm. And it kind of shakes their brain so that they can stop doing what they're doing so they can have an opportunity to hear and listen. Mm-hmm. So stop. And then you have them, ask them what they're feeling. I think that's important. A lot of times we don't ask kids what they're feeling. Ask them what they're feeling so that they can name it.
Yeah, ask them what emoji they are.
Yeah, you can ask them what emoji they are, depending on how old they are, right? Mm-hmm. So naming their feeling, whether it's anger, irritation, frustration, name it so that you know how to deal with it and you know how to help them work through it, mm-hmm. right? And then you need to help them start calming down. So a lot of times we can have them deep breaths. Deep breaths mm-hmm. work with kids so much. In through your nose, out through your mouth, settles them down, slows their heart rate down so that they can actually listen to what's being said, mm-hmm. which is the next tip. Help them to listen, right? Mm-hmm. Let them slow down, stop talking, listen to what you're saying, listen to what their sibling is saying so that they can hear and be able to move forward, right? And then while they're working through it, only one of them talks at a time, and have them repeat back what they heard so that they know that they're being heard and know that they're hearing correctly, right? And the last one, help them to avoid confrontational situations. If you know every time they play the Xbox that there's going to be a fight, maybe they shouldn't play the Xbox right now. If you know every time they sit at the table together mm-hmm. and try to have a meal that there's always something going on, maybe separate them, let them eat somewhere else. So avoid confrontational situations mm-hmm. as much as you can.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So what we learned. Mm-hmm. Building a system of consistency is important during this time, especially now that our country is open, not open.
Open, not open.
Right? So you mm-hmm. might be participating in some of the openness and then you're coming back home and you're self-distancing. And that can be hard for children mm-hmm. because they're like, are we out? Are we in? What's going on? Mm-hmm. So build a system of consistency. And what I mean by that is continue to have a place where you work, have a place where the kids do their schoolwork, a different place. Have mm-hmm. it be a different place. Have somewhere different where you eat. Allow them outside time if you have areas for outside. And then build in days like movie night, game night. Mm-hmm. You don't want to forget to do these things because you're a parent working in the home and that can kind of spill over to all the time. And so mm-hmm. you never really stop working because you haven't left the office. Right. So you want to build a system of consistency. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that movie night is a good one. I know you're going to mention that one. I know that helped us a lot.
Right.
You know, restructuring the whole little living space and putting together a movie and sitting down and acting like we're at the movies because you can't go to the movies.
Right.
That's been huge for us and our kids.
Right.
Yeah.
And then recognize where the issue is coming from. Mm-hmm. From either your life experiences, your spouse, or your child. I know that during these past few weeks, it has become more apparent to me that sometimes my husband is correcting our children, and not that I disagree with the way that he's correcting them or how he's correcting them, but it brings up experiences from my past, and then I get upset with him or I get upset with my child because I'm not paying attention to where exactly the issue is coming from, right? And then I have to sit back and go, was I really, upset, or was I really that upset, or was it kind of bringing up something for me from my past? So you have to recognize where the issue is coming from. That will help to mitigate a lot of the conflict. Recognize that you may not, it's not necessarily your husband. You're upset because of something he said, because it sparked something that you heard, and now you're upset, you're mad at everybody, and you don't want to talk, you don't want to, so you want to recognize where the issues are coming from.
Yeah, and I think that's extremely important for both partners, because like Moy said, I've been, we've been together for a while. For 20 years, but for the last 6 weeks in this house.
Right.
And things come up, and for both partners, it's important to remember, like she was saying, that I may do something that it's not necessarily me, but it sparked something. I have to recognize that that's what's going on too, and be able to not get frustrated,
right,
and not react.
Right.
Because if you talk these things through, then you realize, okay, well, then here's how we need to work through it together.
Right.
So whether that's with the kids, whether that's with each other, that's being able to figure out, like, oh, this is the actual issue.
Right.
I'm reacting here, but the actual issue is deeper, and let's deal with that, and give each other some grace. And
a lot of the times, these things can happen, especially when you're in confined space with each other, because not all of us live in 3,000 square feet.
Right.
So when you're in confined spaces, you really have to stop, breathe, listen. Listen to your spouse, to your partner, listen to yourself, listen to your children. That
one was huge that you just said, that listen to yourself. Listen to what's going on in your own body and in your own head. That's right. Huge. Yep. Well, I think that's our quick tips for this time. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share these videos, particularly these special editions. All right.
Right. See you next time.